Hello and welcome to Heroes World, our TGIF show, our very first one of 2022. So hopefully you guys have been having an exciting new year. I'm Andre and I'm joined by Jesse, and we've got a special episode this week where we are diving into just comic books, our favorite
Yes.
passion. So this is going to cover some of the great books that came out this week, and boy, was there a lot of them, as well as some stuff from last week. So, Jesse, how are you doing on this cold January day?
Oh, it's getting colder and colder by the minute out there. I think it's what, at negative 19 now. It's a great time to stay inside and curl up with a good book and or comic book and just sit down and read the night away.
Definitely, definitely. And this week, wow, there was so many great books to choose from. Obviously, we couldn't read and talk about all of them, but we've picked kind of some of the standout issues and things that we liked, and we hope that you guys like them too. So, without further ado, we're going to start that. But please, 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 if you guys are reading something that you like, comment on it. Let us know what you're reading, what you're enjoying. Maybe we'll check it out and give you a thumbs up as well, because this is a shared experience. We want to know what you're liking as we tell what we are liking as well. So, Jesse, let's bring up the slideshow and let's talk about the first comic book here. Listen, the man needs no introduction whatsoever. This is Brian Michael Bendis, the star of not only Marvel, but then he's writing now at DC for the past couple of years. And this is a brand new series, just came out, #1, and it is the Justice League versus the Legion of Superheroes. Great first issue, excellent start. As you can see by the cover, it's bright, it's colorful, and there is a cast of a lot of great heroes. So, if you don't know much about the Legion, please do not panic, do not fear. This book is going to give you all the pertinent information, and they're introducing a new character in the form of the Gold Lantern. The Legion of Superheroes, a superhero team set in the future, and it's pretty cool because there's a federation of planets, and each planet sends heroes, and they become the Legion. There's so many different
Oh,
powers, but they've kind of got this really cool thing where there's so many different options. They really work together, so many different points of view and stuff, and that's brought into this storyline. What makes this storyline cool is how it seamlessly bridges the two timelines. We see not only the Legion, and they get into a little bit of trouble, but we then also see our times Justice League, and a great splash. Let's give a shout out to the artist, and I hope I don't pronounce his name wrong. It's Godlowski. Let me see if it's yep, Godlowski. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Yeah, very, very cool. So what kicks this off is there's an event that happens simultaneously in both timelines, shunting one of the Legion characters into the past. And of course, that person obviously knows Superboy because Superboy has ties to the Legion. But in this twist, Jesse, it's not Superboy, it is Jonathan Kent, the
oh
son of
boy.
our Superman. And he makes a nice cameo appearance in that, and he links
Wow.
the two teams together. He flies to the future to bring the League back, the Legion of Superheroes, back in time to meet the Justice League. And what did I love about that? It's so cool. Bendis is the master of dialogue. When these heroes in the future meet their icons of the past, they're awestruck, they're flabbergasted. One of them's like, "Is that the magic lasso? Can I touch it?" And another one's like, "Oh, you're embarrassing us. Let's not do it." So this book's got a lot of fun. It's got a little bit of mystery and great art. So this is one of those books that I highly recommend. Check it out, even if you know nothing about the teams. I think it's very, very good to start.
So does the Legion switch out their roster every now and then, or I'm not familiar with the Legion of Superheroes.
Yeah,
So
the
have
Legion of Superheroes, they do have kind of an ever-growing roster. They are Legion, so there's people joining, there's people leaving, but they're always going to have some staples. And one of the staples is Brainiac, and there's different iterations of Brainiac, and he's kind of like the thinker, the person who's putting everything together, kind of like the Martian Manhunter, telepathically linking people and giving them all the options. So there's going to be characters that'll always be there, but then there's also brand new ones all the time. So yeah, it's honestly it's a great book, and Legion's got a lot of press recently because I think they're working on a Legion TV show. Bendis tweeted out something maybe a week or two ago about that, so might be a good time to jump in. Also, might I add that Bendis is writing the regular Justice League book, and I've been a super fan of that. And as you saw that roster, you saw Black Adam and the character Naomi, along with Green Arrow and Black Canary. So you see that it's a different roster of the Justice League, but that book has been super solid as well. So highly recommend that. If you're looking for copies, we've got them at the store. All of the issues of Bendis' Justice League run and this brand new series that just came out on Wednesday. So yeah, do yourself a favor, put that on your maybe list of things to check out. All right, what do we got next on tap, Jesse?
I think it's Rain.
Rain, yes.
What is this one about?
This one here, it is based on a short story written by Joe Hill. Jesse, inform everybody who Joe Hill is.
Joe Hill is a comic book writer. No, I'm just kidding. He's the son of Stephen King, and he's been doing a lot of work in comic books. He had his what was it, Hill House of Horror?
Yep.
Come out last year with a Basket Full of Heads. Refrigerator Full of Heads just started coming out.
The sequel.
The sequel. What else did he have? I can't remember. The Plunge, I think, was another.
The Plunge. Yep. There's a whole bunch. He's got a whole line of horror comics out at DC Comics, and so now he's jumping over into Image, and this one is an adaptation of a short story, like I mentioned. Now, I did not know that going in, and to be 100% frank with you, I'm not a super fan of adapting novels or short stories to comic books, but since I didn't know about that short story and haven't read it, this one I was pleasantly surprised on, and I think a lot of that had to do with the art. It's pretty cool. Like, I really like how they've put these kind of like the textures. I don't know, Jesse, you're more of an art guy, but I really like how the patterns on the dress and the pattern on the blanket and stuff, and those type of things are all throughout the book, and it's just a clean looking comic book, and it's very kind of interesting. So these are our two main characters, or we think they're going to be our two main characters, and yeah, something tragic happens to them, and something really, really strange. The book is called Rain, and there is an event that happens in which shards of crystal rain down, and literally, if you were outside, you are dead. And it was kind of like this horrific thing with this rain just comes down, and our main character Honeysuckle, which is kind of a really weird kind of name, I thought, and she has to watch her the love of her life, be basically rained and impaled as they were going to move in together. So it's kind of a tragic beginning to this tale, and we'll see where that goes.
Now, which character is Honeysuckle? Just out of curiosity.
Honeysuckle is the girl on the left there. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting, because when you said honeysuckle, I thought it was the girl on the right, because her dress is kind of like a honeysuckle color, right? Like
yeah.
Honey's yellow and orangey. Interesting.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. And I think we got another image where she's just literally like, if you guys can see this panel, maybe we'll make it full screen here. Yeah, and she's talking to one of her neighbors, and this particular neighbor, he's a cute kid. He thinks he's a vampire, but that's because he's got an ailment that doesn't allow him to be outside. So she's taking him back into his garage, and that's the only reason she is not outside when this. And you could see she steps outside, and something pricks her, and she pulls it out, and it's this shard of crystal, and it falls. And literally the next couple pages, I didn't want to show them because they are a little bit graphic. And it's just like, yeah, just people doing their daily things, and they're getting impaled and stuff. And I guess as the story goes, this is going to be a kind of like a weather system that starts in one part of the states and it's moving across. So they're going to talk about, I guess, the ramifications of that. So yeah, a pretty interesting book. There was a little bit of buzz about it, but wasn't quite on my radar, but I'm glad I checked it out. So if you are into other comic books that are, say, not your superhero based or your crime fiction and stuff like that, this is going to be a little bit more of a personal tale with a little bit of that horror edge. So if you guys were a fan of the Me You Love in the Dark, like Jesse and I was, I think it's going to kind of slide into that type of category. So it's going to be an interesting book. Maybe not for everybody, but I think it is definitely worth checking out. And I will say, maybe it's because Joe Hill didn't write this particular comic, but I did enjoy this one more than some of the other Hill House comics because it wasn't so horror based. I'm not a big horror, like graphic, gruesome type of follower, but this one I do like because I think we are really going to get that personal story out of it. So,
what else did you read this week? There was a lot.
There was a lot. Okay, so I say this quite often, and maybe I got to eat my words and change my opinion. The second issue of King of Spies came out by Mark Millar, and oh my God, the art is amazing. Matteo Scalera. I love this book. You guys, you heard it. This is Andre, who does not like Mark Millar, but man, I really, really dig this book. It's simple. It's over the top. It's the art is amazing. The character's compelling. And it's just, yeah, it's almost everything I want in kind of like not only a spy thriller, but this kind of a vendetta style book. So the premise of the book, our main character is a retired, basically James Bond-esque Secret Service, used to work for MI6, but he's got 6 months to live. He's got, I think, is it cancer? Some inoperable cancer.
Yeah.
And he's just basically turning over this leaf. He's like, you know what? I've been killing the wrong people. And, I've been doing good for the world, but not on my terms. And he's like, there's people he knows that are rotten, evil, bad. And he's like, you know what? I don't have to turn the other cheek. Let me go knock these guys off because I got 6 months to live. What can they do to me? And it's pretty cool because now you've kind of got that conscious, where he's like, you know what? Yeah, I did the bidding of my government. I was, I did my duty. And it's, for Queen and country and stuff. And he's like, now this is for him. He wants to feel good about the bad he's done. And it's just kind of simple plot, but it's so well executed. And I think that's it. Like, I don't think there's any way that Mark Millar can kind of mess it up.
This book wasn't on my radar at first, and then you brought it up. What was it? A month ago, almost.
Yep.
And how did you describe it? You said John Wick with a little bit of James Bond, and that really intrigued me. So I picked up the first issue, and my goodness, full spoilers. That bar fight scene at the end of issue number 1, amazing.
Yep. Amazing. Yeah.
The art is simple but complex, if that makes sense. The characters aren't fully developed. They got the cartoony look, but it works for the story, right? We see the vibrant blood splashing around. What happens in issue 2? I missed this one. Tell me without any spoilers because I've got to pick it up.
All right. So basically, yeah, at the end of issue 1, he decides to do what he's doing. So this one, we kind of got this cool, quick montage of him going after the bad guys. And if you can see from this particular image, it's him offing people in a couple of different ways. Takes a knife to one, strangles out another guy, shooting somebody else in a car. Like this guy, he's showing that he's a master of his craft. And it just, again, Mark Millar, a lot of his stuff gets turned into TV or movie. Not quite successful. He's the guy that did Jupiter's Legacy. But I think he's really writing this one to be translated. And the action is going to be wild. The next image is super cool. He literally sneaks onto Air Force One and takes out a former president and then blows his way out of the plane. So I could just imagine what this scene would look like. And if you guys do a quick Google image of the name of this the book, the King of Spies, there's an image of Pierce Brosnan with that thick beard and a shotgun, and looks exactly like it. I'm like, man, if they cast that and do it, it looks super wild. The next slide's got probably my favorite part in it. Basically, this is him sneaking into a safe house for spies, and you can see he's using the severed hand of a former colleague, shall we say, to get in. And this is basically a safe house with the highest tech gear, guns, holographic glasses, just whatever he needs to get the job done. So I always like when the characters get to gear up and use stuff. So yeah, super cool issue. It's only going to be a limited series. So if you're looking for kind of a nice, simple action fest, then I think this is your book. And the art, it's just a treat. It's just a fantastic book.
I really liked in the first issue too with the planes. I think he did that in the first issue when he was younger. He jumped from one plane to another, got in, killed a few guys, and then jumped back into it. It's a great story.
No, it's high octane action. It's over the top. Like I said before, this is John Wick meets James Bond type of stuff. So yeah, so it's just very, very fun and nothing that you can take. Definitely not taking it too seriously. But if you're open minded and you just like that high octane action, that's a comic for you, definitely. So I think we both enjoyed this story that's next up on our comic list. And this is Star Wars, The High Republic. It's a new series called The Eye of the Storm. So, Jesse, what did you think of this one? You are digging the High Republic series. You're reading the regular ongoing and a couple of the other limited series as well?
Yes, the High Republic's very interesting because it's in between the Old Republic, which we kind of know about through Legends, and what do they call it? The Clone Wars? Is that what they've dubbed it?
Yep, they come up to the fall of the Republic. Yeah,
that's what it's called. So this is all new grounds. Like we don't see any Sith Lords. We don't see any of the politics. It's just in the Eye of the Storm. It seems like these are the bad guys, and this is their origin story. I'm not sure if this guy's going to become a new Sith that we've never seen before. He's a very interesting character. He's from a new alien race, right?
Yes. The alien race is called the Everani, and I think the name of the planet is called Everon. So
this alien race was a peaceful race. They always helped people. They were called the caretakers.
Yes.
And then eventually, people started taking advantage of them, going to their planet, fighting for their resources, killing each other, killing people for what they wanted. So their planet got destroyed, and they had nowhere to go. So the sorry, what was their name again? Everanis had to go out into space and find their own way. They became the caretakers, but in a different way. They take care of themselves, and they're all about themselves. So in this first issue, we get a glimpse of two main characters, Asgar Rowe and Marshawn Rowe. Marshawn Rowe is the guy you see there sitting on the throne, but that's him when he's a lot older, near the end of the issue. It flashes back into his past, but we see his dad a lot, and his dad seems like a suave sort of businessman. He does what he has to get by, and he's really just taking care of himself, not even his son there.
Yeah, he's pretty ruthless.
Yeah, he is. So I don't know if this is new technology, but the Everonis have a teleporting system where they can jump in and out of hyperspace really quickly. in sort of a small little area. So Asgard sends his son up in space, and he says, "Fight these pirates. If you win, you win. If you lose, you're dead." Right? And Marchand wins, and Asgard takes control of the smugglers, the pirates, and sets the basis of the Niles race. I haven't heard of these people before. Have you?
I have not. No, it's all kind of like you said. This is new, blazing new ground. So
Yeah. So from my experience with the High Republic and this issue, the Niles are sort of like a pirate smugglers. The Jedi are actually really afraid of them because they have. This is from the High Republic, the main story that this branches off from. They have this gas that eats away at the Jedi's, and nobody can stop it. Eats away at Jedi's, eats away at any race, and it destroys them from the inside, makes them go crazy. So that's why you see these Niles people all wearing a mask. Can we make that full screen for a second so you can see them? They all sort of wear this headgear. It looks kind of droidy with a mix of cyberpunk there at the top. Yeah, so I'm really excited for this book to see what the Niles are actually all about and whether they're going to be the new High Republic bad guys, because I know they've crossed over in the novels, the comics. I think there's shorts about them online, but they seem like a very interesting race. And
yeah,
a cool little Easter egg tad bit. The lady up top there, the top right, the green lady. What's her species called again? I think
is it Twi'lek? It looks like.
Twi'lek. Are those the horny ones?
Yeah, the ones with the Leku behind their necks.
That's from our last video, the Boba Fett one, when I called them the horny people. Yeah, so she's actually from the High Republic series, and the main characters from the main High Republic series are trying to chase her down and hunt her down. She's one of the heads of the Niles.
Interesting.
Right? Yeah.
Interesting. Well, that's a nice little tidbit there. And also, we can mention that the father of Marchand Rowe basically has trained his son to be this weapon to be unleashed against the Jedi. And it's kind of interesting because his mother was like, saying, hey, he's got to be ready, but you don't know what a Jedi can do. So he's got to keep being training. So we see kind of this, viciousness that's built into the family, and they're training this kid from very young to be a weapon to use against the Jedi. So hopefully we find out a little bit more about where that animosity comes from and stuff. But yeah, pretty cool issue, great cover, very intriguing story, and an interesting backstory to that race of people, where they come from a planet of the storms, and the storm, kind of desecrated a lot of their people, so they knew loss and stuff like that. So yeah, so it's some cool concepts in that book. So I haven't read a lot of the High Republic stuff, but this one I definitely checked out, and I'm curious to see where it goes.
Now, did you read the Kylo Ren origin story?
I did not. No.
Here, I'm just gonna throw up an image here. There's a helmet that the Knights of Ren, the leader of the Knights of Ren, had, and it had an eye on it, and it kind of reminds me of this helmet that he's wearing in this thing. So I'm wondering if these Niles are actually going to be the Knights of Ren in the future,
or maybe the Knights of Ren take something from them. Yeah, that could be kind of a cool little connective tissue, right, to see where they draw some of that from, and they're kind of building the lore and stuff like that. So yeah, that's pretty cool. There's all types of things to speculate with the Star Wars universe and stuff, and that's probably one of the fun things to do, is to look for Easter eggs and see where they build out and flesh out their world. So yeah, so that's a few of the books that we were digging from this week. There was one other book I do want to talk about, because I really like this book, and it was brought to us by Todd McFarlane. Has been really making his mark with the Spawn universe. You may have tuned into some of our videos or known that the Spawn universe has been growing with new books like Gunslinger Spawn, King Spawn, and now he brought out a brand new book called The Scorched, which is like a team up of all the spawns. Now that book came out this week, and it was really, really cool. We're gonna see if we've got some images of that. But I want to tell you a little bit about that book. Actually, I've got a copy of it here. I grabbed for myself. I'm a big fan of this artist here. Oh, let me take it out of the bag and board, because this is cover artist here, Brett Booth. Really, really dig his stuff. He's working on Gunslinger Spawn. And what is The Scorched about? The Scorched is about, if you liked one spawn, how about we have a team of spawns? We've got She Spawn leading, Gunslinger Spawn, Medieval Spawn, and a Redeemer. And it's kind of like this Black Ops team. This is your action book. Great art, not complex. If you don't follow Spawn, you don't need to really, go and do a ton of research. They're going to tell you what you need to know. And literally, it's your action book. It's not your high octane. It's not a novel-esque thing. So I really like that book. I got to give credit to McFarlane. He's really been building up that Spawn universe and giving his fans, he's resonating with his fans, giving them what they like. And this book is definitely that. So if you were ever a Spawn fan or curious about the character, you literally get all the spawns here. And it is pretty damn cool. So yeah, I wanted to give a shout out to that book as well.
Yes, I checked out. I flipped through it, and it looks amazing.
Yeah,
like the way it's. I wish we had images. The way it's drawn, like Gunslinger Spawn. I think I used to always like the way Spawn looked, but now that I've seen Gunslinger Spawn and how he acts, he's kind of like the Deadpool, I would say, of the Spawns, because we talked about him before, talking about a porta potty.
Yeah,
right. Like he's kind of the Deadpool Spawn. I really like Gunslinger Spawn, and he's got his own story too, right?
He's got his own title there. Yep. And one of my favorite Spawn is probably the Medieval Spawn. I love that design and stuff like that. So literally, this Spawn book's got something for, I think, everybody. So that's what we checked out this week. But it has been a couple of weeks since we've been here. So let's talk about some of the great books that came out in the last couple of weeks in our segment. Last week in comics. We're going to go back in time. So Jesse, why don't you start us off with what you liked from last week in comics?
Last week, I can't remember at the moment. This one was probably a week
or 2 weeks ago. Was it 2 weeks ago?
Maybe last year sometime, but it was the new Batman book by Jacques, One Dark Knight. So do you remember, what was it, early 2000s when we had a power outage and there was power all throughout the city, all throughout, how far to go? Almost all of southern Ontario was blacked out.
Oh, man, yeah. I think it was more widespread. This was the blackout. I think it even went as far down into the States and stuff. I think even New York and stuff like that. Yeah, definitely a wild time.
That's what the premise of this book is. Gotham has gone dark. There's been a power outage, and the whole city is pitch black. And Batman has to get a prisoner from one side of town that you can see up top there to Blackgate Prison down there at the bottom. I really like this image because I've never actually seen a top-down view, a map view of Gotham.
Nice.
Has there ever been one? Have you ever seen one?
Oh, yeah, they've done it quite a few times. There was a really good map of it done in the Batman series called No Man's Land, and there was showing you the different areas and who controlled what areas and stuff. It's kind of every couple of years, there's always this big catastrophe in Gotham, and they kind of always do like a top-down one. But that one with No Man's Land was very, very cool. And after No Man's Land, when the city got rebuilt up, they rezoned it, and you saw which people or what groups owned what sector and stuff like that. So yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, it's Gotham's an island, so you get to see all of where places are. Like you hear them talk about Arkham, you hear them talk about Blackgate, you hear them talk about Tri-Corner and stuff like that, the Dowry or the Bowery. So yeah, Crime Alley where his parents are. So it's always nice to visualize that in a map setting. So I agree totally with you there, Jesse.
Yes. So Batman is transporting this supervillain. His name, I forget his name at the moment, but they're the yellow line there, and they've got to take the red line down because that's the quickest route. And at where the yellow line ends is where the power all goes out. So Batman's got a long trip taking this guy down. One thing I really like about this book is the art. Wow, that image actually reminds me of the Todd McFarlane Batman with the
Yeah.
big blue cape. Yeah. So Jacques, I don't think he's written much Batman, if any. This is his first Bat run, I guess you'd say.
Yep, he's done covers on Batman before, and he's done art on Batman, but never written. And this is written and drawn by him, and it's the oversized format, DC's Black Label. So, like Jesse said, the art's fantastic. It's a great format for his stuff.
It looks beautiful. It's very Jacques-esque. He's got his very unique style, and I really like it. You didn't have a chance to read this yet.
I haven't had a chance to read it. It's one of those things like sometimes books come in and they sell so fast that I'm like, I didn't even get a chance to pick one up. But DC's been knocking it out of the park lately. This one under Black Label, oversized, as well as the Catwoman series, Lonely City. Wow, both of those excellent Black Label books. And the nice thing about the Black Label is they are kind of short. Like they're like either 3-4 issues, concise, and again that oversized format. When you've got artists telling stories, wow, you just love it for the oversized. So definitely check this one out.
Jacques is one of my favorite artists. True fact. Oh, my background is his Joker
nice
image, the Year of the Joker.
Yeah,
I just love the way cool. He draws. I like his use of colors and everything. It's one of my favorite artists for sure.
Yeah, no, he's quite quite a talented individual, very stylized, can do many different looks. Like I first really fell in love with him with a book called The Losers, and I really loved it. They turned it into a movie as well, but the book is just fantastic. So yeah, if you don't know his work, definitely want to check it out. Highly stylized, really great artist. So all right, so let's keep going up. Let's go back in time last week. This one we're going back a couple of weeks. And this is the Amazing Spider-Man. This is from the Beyond series, where Marvel has been taking Spider-Man, Peter Parker. He is not currently the web head. He has been replaced by his clone, Ben Reilly. And Ben Reilly works for the Beyond Corporation. And the Beyond Corporation has basically laid claim to the copyright of Spider-Man. So in this issue, we have Miles Morales tussling with Ben Reilly, and you can see it right there on the cover, calling him out. You are not Spider-Man. And it's really cool how he can figure that out just by seeing how he moves and talks. And this is Miles basically trying to find out what's going on. So yeah, did you dig this issue, Jess?
Yeah, I really liked it. I'm actually really liking the Amazing Spider-Man with the Beyond. Ben Reilly's trying to be the best Spider-Man he can. He's trying to look to Peter Parker for inspiration, but Peter Parker got first issue of Beyond. He got attacked by one of these new, stronger villains who caused his whole body to get radiated, and he's been in the hospital. And Ben keeps visiting him, asking him how he's feeling and all this stuff, and asking him for advice, and sort of keeping it on the down low that he's Spider-Man. He's filling in for Peter Parker while Peter Parker's bedridden. This is a monster we see in this issue. Very crazy looking monster, but he's not the real villain of the book. I guess you would say Miles Morales or Ben Reilly, depending on whose side you're on.
Yeah, depending on whose side you're taking.
I really like this issue for the way it's drawn too. It looks beautiful with Spider-Man gliding. He's got a whole bunch of new tech because he's working with Beyond. This is the first time Beyond's really been around in this presence, right?
Yep.
Like they've always been around, but they haven't really took center stage. They're a tech juggernaut. They've got these new wing tech. They can talk to Ben Riley wherever he goes. They track him. They know his
They
vitals.
track him. Yep, he's got different web functions through his his web shooters. Yeah, so this is almost like a little bit like the Superior Spider-Man. Lots of different gadgets and stuff. So
I think he's kind of inspired by the Tom Holland Spider-Man too, with Tony Stark's tech in his suit, right? But Miles knows instantly that this isn't our Spider-Man, and they get into a fight right away. What do you think of the fight?
yeah, I thought it was pretty cool because it definitely starts off with as your classic superhero tussle, and then as bystanders are gonna be, shall we say, getting caught in the middle, then they both hero up and do what needs to be done. But yeah, you can see them just going at it. And it's just such a cool fight. It was really neat too because this particular issue leads into a tie-in or crossover with the current issue of Miles Morales and stuff. So if you wanted to go and see how Miles confronts the Beyond Corporation, then you can check out his book and stuff. So yeah, Marvel has been doing a good job. Although it is coming out, I think 3 times a month, which does seem pretty fast. This I think was one of the more standout issues that they did for it. So it's pretty cool. And again, this is a little bit of bringing back that nostalgia feel of the Clone Saga, but definitely not as complicated and stuff. And we're also seeing how Peter's trying to recover in the hospital from that radiation and stuff. So yeah, there's lots going on in this series. So I guess maybe that's why they're bringing it out weekly. But yeah, it's going to end. It's going to be, I think, a 12-part series. And then they're going to be doing something brand spanking new with Spider-Man. And John Romita Jr. is returning to Marvel and returning to Spider-Man. So that's something to look forward to in April. So Marvel's doing a lot of announcements about that right now. So that's kind of cool. It's kind of a big deal. Yes. But speaking of big deals, how cool was this next book that we both absolutely loved? That's right, Nightwing by our boy Tom Taylor. Amazing art by is it Bruno Renardo? Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Yes. But yeah, man, this book is phenomenal. And why was this particular issue special? Well, it is a continuous panel. Hard to kind of describe how cool it is, but let's full screen some of this art and just show you exactly what we mean. So Nightwing gets a call. Oracle is warning him. He's saying, hey, someone is out to get you. And he's like, well, big deal. Nightwing is wanted all the time. He's like, no. Someone's put a hit out on Dick Grayson. Now, why would somebody want to kill Dick Grayson? Well, in this series, Tom Taylor has set it up that Alfred, when he passed away, left his fortune to Nightwing. Dick Grayson then decides, hey, I'm going to help my home, which is Bloodhaven. That's the city he calls home. And he's going to do it out in the open. He's going to make the city a better place. And that makes all the criminals and, shall we say, seedy government and politician people question this and puts a target on the back of his head. But yeah, let's take a look. The next panel, wow, it is just phenomenal. So he's going to change into costume and we can see him and we can see the assassins kind of chasing him, shooting him, see him change. And the whole book is like this. So it is fantastic. It's the story is called Nightwing Get Grayson. And yeah, super, super cool. Listen, if you guys have not read this book, I know Jesse and I have talked about it several times. Trust me, pick up this just one issue. And if you're not a believer after this one issue, I don't think I can sell you on anything because this book was just fantastic.
I think if I had to pick an best solo issue, best single issue from last year, I would say it would be this one. Just the way it's drawn. We've got the image here. Like, it all connects. I would love to get a second copy, cut it apart and put it on my wall because it's a piece of
Yeah.
art. It just keeps going, right? Like,
Yeah.
and you can just see the word bubbles, they flow with the action. It
Yep.
just,
It's how you follow the action. Yeah.
yeah, it's beautiful, and it all connects. So those are the three images we just put up, and it's
Yep. No.
seamless, right?
Phenomenal stuff. And again, the story is so great. The
Mhm.
all the characters are in character. He's he's Tom Taylor's building and fleshing out these relationships and stuff, and this is the best Nightwing has been in a long time, and that's so good to see. Because this character really is a foundation piece in the DC universe. He's been around since he was Robin, all that time in the Titans, and then blazing his own path, as Nightwing. Yeah, so super cool character, and Tom Taylor's doing an amazing job on it. Also, let's mention that it just came out, the first 5 issues in hardcover. We've got lots of copies of that. I highly recommend this series, guys. If you love comics, you should be reading this book. Just plain and simple.
Especially that one issue, because it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
I kind of want to get another one just to stick on my wall.
Yeah, no, super cool. All right, and continuing our talk about the Bat family, let's talk about this series. This one came out last week, and it is the new story arc called Shadows of the Bat, and it starts with this issue, Detective Comics 1047. It's called The Tower of Good and Evil, and wow, I gotta say, super cool. Now, if you know a little bit about DC's rebirth, when Detective Comics came out, it was a Bat family book. Batman put together a team run by Batwoman of basically his entourage, and stuff. And that was a great series. We're returning to kind of that format where Bruce Wayne has left Gotham. Batman is not there, and he has left Batwoman in charge. And there's a whole kind of team. There's Batwoman, there's Oracle, Huntress, Cassandra Cain, Batgirl, spoiler Batgirl, and of course Dick Grayson. And wow, it is super cool. The title, The Tower of Good and Evil, there's a new tower that's been built that is kind of replacing Arkham. Now, Arkham blew up and a lot of inmates died, so the people who survived have been transferred to this new Arkham Tower, and our heroes want to find out what is going on in that tower. Again, this book is super cool. Ivan Rice, one of my all-time favorite artists. This guy is just a classic comic artist extraordinaire. His work on Superman blew me away. His work on this is fantastic. Yeah, this is going to shape up to be a great series. We're going to talk about part 1 and part 2. And I think this is weekly, and it's going to be a 12-part series. So again, we've got both copies at the store. But yeah, Jesse, how did you feel about this one?
I really liked it. I was kind of iffy at first how they're going to do a Batman book without Batman. You said when they first started the rebirth, Batwoman was in charge, but Batman was always there, kind of overseeing what she was doing.
Yep.
Batman in the main Batman title is gone to Europe, I think.
Yep.
It's Europe. So he's left his Bat family in charge of Gotham, and they're supposed to keep it safe while he's gone. So this is the new what is it called? Arkham Tower.
Arkham Tower, yes.
Arkham Tower. So Arkham Asylum blew up in the A-Day event, which was from what was it?
Infinite Frontier.
I was going to say Infinite Crisis. Different story.
Yeah.
So they call it A-Day when Arkham Asylum blew up. They built a new tower, and Batman's placed key players into the tower. So I think Nightwing's the IT guy. Nightwing's running around doing something inside the building. Batwoman has a job there as a therapist.
Yep. She applies for a job in there. Yep. So he's embedding people to make sure this place is on the up and up.
Yep. And there's a new character that was introduced. Is she new? Debbie Dubrov? Is that her name? The journalist?
No, I don't think she's new.
Well, she's part of it too. She's supposed to be doing the investigative research, make sure everybody's on the up and up. That guy we saw there at the very first slide is a new character named Dr. Ware.
Yep.
He has cracked the code to making villains good guys again. And this guy we see here tried to kill the mayor of Gotham in Detective Comics a few back when the Fear State was going on, and he has now been rehabilitated and
Yep.
is a valued member of the Arkham Tower. So everybody's kind of questioning what Dr. Weir is doing. Nobody knows how these bad guys are now good citizens, and that's why Batman's dropped his Bat family there to make sure everything's on the up and up.
Yeah, no, very cool issue. Lot of intrigue in there, and how they're tying it to inside the tower as well as Gotham, and putting all the different events that have been happening in Detective Comics are always referenced in this. So it's really, really cool. As you can see here, the art's beautiful, whether it's action, whether it's just people talking. And it's cool because when you see Batwoman doing stuff and meeting people, it always flashes back to how she met them as Batwoman and while she's kind of undercover and stuff like that. So let's talk about issue 1048. This one just came out this week. But yeah, super, super cool. This is where we get the backstory to Dr. Ware. We see a traumatic event of his past that kind of leads him on his way. His mother was a violent offender and stuff, and he was put through the system, but not everything is as it seems. This is him in current time, and here he is interviewing Batwoman as her alias, as a therapist and stuff, and she's got Oracle in her ear and stuff. So again, this is a cool book. We see here Mr. Freeze walking around where all of the inmates are. They're not locked up. So this is a totally different environment than Arkham Asylum was. And like Jesse said, everything seems to be working. And I love it because we get some great flashbacks of, Batman in action. And again, look at this is Ivan Rice at his best, just phenomenal take on Victor Freeze, and just an amazing Batman. There's just something Ivan Rice manages to imbue kind of like this classic superhero look with this modern, spin and stuff. But yeah, I just love it. He's a great artist. So this series has been super good. You can jump in at this particular point if you just wanted to pick it up from 1047 and follow it through. That's one thing Jesse and I like to do when we're picking comics, and talking about them. There's no point telling you guys about something that's halfway into the story.
Yeah.
You've got to go back 6 or 8 issues to really follow it. We really hope that you guys can be, watching us or listening to us and then say, hey, I want to try that because I can pick that issue up and enjoy it. So yeah, that's what we're all about, sharing the love of comics and getting you guys to read some cool stuff.
When I saw this image, I was so happy. Do you know why?
Why were you happy, Mr. Jesse?
I was happy because Mr. Freeze is alive. He's probably my favorite Batman villain. And last time we saw him, he was he saved Nora, and Nora became cold. Like, she became looking like him with the blue skin, and then she set him up to die, and we never saw whether he died or lived.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
It was like a fade to black. Is he alive? Is he dead? Nora went off into the sunset. He was left there to, I think, in the sun, in the desert. I can't remember. It was a long time ago, but we haven't seen him since. And then all of a sudden he appeared there, and I was like, yes, my boy's still alive.
Yes.
Right? It was good to see him again. And then when the next page, when this happened, I was like, yeah, that's my boy, Mr. Freeze.
Yeah. For sure. He's such a cool adversary and a tragic character too. So listen, that's kind of some of the great books that we've been liking over the last couple of weeks. We are going to continue to bring you Very, very good comic content as well as other content. But we just thought, getting back from that New Year's break and the holiday break, that we just would just hammer an all comic episode. So if you like our comic book chats, please let us know. Make sure that you also let us know what you're reading and enjoying, or if there's books that you think we should review. We want to hear from you. And if you are enjoying our content, make sure you check us out online everywhere. Heroes World Online on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and here on Twitch. Look at all that content we're bringing you. So tune in when you can, chime in when you can. We'd love to hear from you. So thank you for all the support, and we will see you again.